Merry Christmas!
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is your host, Chris.
No! God, please, no! No!
I know, I'm sorry, but he's cheap and available.
How rude!
Good evening, how the devil are we all? Welcome back. Leicester versus Newcastle, Boxing Day. The Premier League is back. We had a little bit of a taster with a bit of the Fizzy Pop Cup the other night, and we are through. And wouldn't it just be typical that we're going to get drawn against Newcastle United away, having played them this weekend? The games are coming thick and fast. We've got two now before the end of the year, but the first one is Boxing Day. And if anybody has been following me on Twitter today, you'll probably be surprised to know that I have actually got a Newcastle fan that's still talking to me. So let's bring him in and say good evening. It's not John. He's I think he's kind of double booked himself, and he's been having problems with blackouts and electricity and what have you. You know what they're like in the northwest, northeast. I mean, Tony though is a very fine stand-in. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Chris. I'm fine. Thank you very much. How are you, mate? And thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for stepping in at the last minute with obviously John having his problems. My God, what has gone on here? 47 minutes gone. It's Manchester City 2, Liverpool 2. It was 1-1, I'm sure, at half time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Minutes in. Good God. As they stood in for John, and I do really appreciate that. Just tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so I normally do co-host with John, as Chris knows anyway. When I looked after John's channel, I was urged by a lot of fans on there, why haven't I got my own channel? So 2 months ago, I set up my own channel. And like I say, I still do co-hosting with John as well, and he comes on my channel. So it's all black and white TV, which is on the screen behind you. I've been going for just over 2 months and got 187 subscribers at present. So the channel's going really well. And so that's where you can find me on YouTube, and on Twitter you can find me at TonyTooney31.
I will update the description below after the show, because obviously I've got John's details in, but I will add yours in as well. And good luck with the new channel.
Thanks, Chris.
It's been a while, but I can welcome him back. Having a few problems getting him in. I probably sent the link to somebody else, knowing the sort of day I'm having. But let's welcome him back. You'll remember him. He's the posh woman's totty. It is, of course, great. Good evening, sir. It's been a long time. Nice to see you again.
It has, Chris, and very good to be back. How are you doing?
Not so bad. And if you have been following me on Twitter today, you'll know, if you wonder why I could occasionally disappear under the desk, it's because I think I might have upset a few Newcastle fans. But let me start with that, and I'll come obviously to you, Tony, first, if I can.
How you doing, Tony? By the way,
right. Oh, sorry, Tony, Craig, Tony. I do apologize.
Hi, Craig.
How you
Being
doing, mate?
rude, not a very good host at all. And I do need to say good evening to Nate and to Nicola. Nicola was in at 8, and I forgot, mate. I'd set it at 8 because I was supposed to be on another Newcastle show at 8 o'clock, but he decided not to have me on because I would fallen out with some of his followers. But there we go. But the question that sort of kicked it all off, and I did a Newcastle show last night, and I like Newcastle. I absolutely like. I'm not with the fact that you've got all the money. Jealous, that's another matter. But, we're not exactly a poor club. So good luck to you. You've got that investment. And, you look like you've got sensible owners. You're taking it one step at a time, as I think is the right way. And obviously the conversation got round to Maddison. Now, we're not a selling club, Leicester, but we will sell if the price is right, because that's within our framework of how the club is run. What kind of got me today on Twitter was that I was hoping that Newcastle were going to be like a breath of fresh air. They're going to come along. We've got this so-called Big Six mentality of these clubs that, Tottenham fans that think there's something they're not because they won a trophy 84 years ago or whatever it was. And, looking down the nose, if you're not inside the top 6, well, we're Tottenham, and we've had it with Arsenal for quite a few years. Like, well, why wouldn't Tielemans want to come to Arsenal? Why wouldn't Vardy? We're Arsenal, of course they would. And I thought the Newcastle fans weren't like that. I'm not saying everyone is, but a lot of the Newcastle fans were very much like, well, of course, if we want Maddison, we'll get Maddison. It will come to us in January. And I'm like, well, why? Well, because we're Newcastle, we're a big club. And I'm like, well, come on, you sounding basically, you sounded like very entitled football fans. What I call somebody, and I think this was where it probably went over the top, I call you Man United Mark II. And to be honest with you, that's not what I thought of Newcastle United fans. And we did just touch on it before we came live, but I mean, are the fans becoming too big for the boots, if you like?
I think it's a minority of fans, if I'm honest, Chris. I mean, like myself, I've supported the club for 40 years since I was 10-year old. And like I said to you before, I've been through the 80s where we were a major selling club. We sold Gascoigne, Waddle, Beardsley, Any young talent that come through, as soon as the clubs put a bid in, oh yeah, he can go. So we were a selling club. And then we had the 90s with John Hall coming in, and he changed the dynamics of our club. If it wasn't for John Hall, we wouldn't have got to where we were. We nearly won the league under Keegan. We lost it a 12-point lead. Then they sold up. Mike Ashley took over the club. We had 14 years of ruin under him. And it hasn't been enjoyable under him. So the new owners came in. It took a long time to get them through the door, but it took a lot of hard negotiation, but we got them there eventually. And they've proved how good of owners they actually are. When they sacked Steve Bruce, and I think the owners on this, by the way, played a great part in that, because when they walked through that door, they could have said to Steve Bruce, we don't want you as manager, off you go. You're not welcome here. But they didn't. What they did was, because he was on 999 games as a manager, they kept him for the Tottenham game, so he got his 1,000th game. And I think that was a stroke of genius from the owners, because what they probably thought was, if we sack him now, the press are going to be on our back saying, well, you haven't even let him have his 1,000th game and he's been sacked. So I think the owners done that just to say, do you know what, let's have his 1,000th game, see how he does, and then we'll assess it. And obviously we got beat off Tottenham and then he got the sack. Now, when we were searching for a manager, Amanda Staveley and Jamie Rubin wanted Unai Emery. But the Saudis, PIF, who are the majority shareholder in the club, wanted Eddie Howe. They said he was the man to take the club forward. So because Unai Emery then signed that contract extension to Villarreal after that Champions League game, we then got Eddie Howe in. Now I look at that and I think we've pulled off a masterstroke here. I know a lot of people laughed when Eddie Howe came through the door. Villa fans as well, they were just as bad. So when Norwich fans, they were like, oh, that's great because you're going to get relegated anyhow. Villa fans were shouting, oh, we've got Steven Gerrard. And Norwich were saying, well, we've got Dean Smith. But Eddie Howe proved them both wrong. And he kept us up, and not just by a small margin either. We got up there to 11th place.
You have got a good manager there. But like I say, and here is my case in mind. Because, Craig, has Maddison ever looked like he wants away to you?
No, but I think a lot of this is classic press talk. You know, they know that.
We are then saying that some Newcastle fans are delusional, if you like. You know, you don't like the fact that Maddison wants away. Where has it ever been quoted? Where has it ever been said that Maddison wants away? And why would he want to just go to Newcastle United? Which, let's be honest with you, no disrespect, it's not exactly the nicest place in the country.
I think,
you know, I mean, he could have the choice of Barcelona, he could have the choice of Real Madrid. It's that entitlement that the fans think that, you know, when did they last win something? How many years ago? But it's that entitlement. Well, we're Newcastle United. We've got money now, and obviously where that money's come from can, of course, be debatable. But you know, at the end of the day, it's changed them, hasn't it? And we've had fans like that. We've had fans that have become think that.
I was going to say, I haven't read anywhere that's anything that said that Maddison wants to go, but if you wait for football fans to only go on Twitter when there's factual stuff put out, then you know you'll be waiting a very, very long time. Twitter is made for speculation. You know, it might as well change its name to it. And people just take stories and they run with it. You know, we've had so many players who want away. The press are the same. Maddison wants away sorry. So this gentleman actually, sorry, he knows members of Maddison's family. Oh my God, really? Wow. Oh, I didn't realise you were so well connected, Oliver. What a twat. I mean, come on, let's be honest. I mean, that I know a third relative, twice deceased, 3 times passed over to the toilet cleaner at Newcastle's training ground that says Eddie Howe wants to move to England. I mean, come on, you know. I mean, the thing is, you know, top class players will always have their heads turned by bigger clubs. What I would say is Newcastle have the potential to be a bigger club than they are now. They're already a big club, so let's not say that.
You've got to look at what, in my mind, what makes a big club. You know,
yes, right. In terms of
trophies, is it fans? Is it money?
In terms of the structure of the club, the money they've got, and the fan base and the ground and everything, it's a big club. It's not a big club in terms of history and trophies
let's say recent history,
of recent history. Okay, we know that they've got that. What I would say is, from any player like Maddison, 2 things. One, if you bought Maddison in the January window, who is he replacing? Because he's not going anywhere to sit on the bench. You know, with all, you know, you would go to a Man City to probably sit on the bench. Again, with all due respect, I don't think you go to Newcastle to sit on the bench. So there's a risk of upsetting what is a good team at the moment who are playing very well. A settled team, you've got some really good players in there. It's all doing well. Plus, I think for any player, wherever Maddison goes next, he's got to be looking at being there for 3-4 seasons. And I would still say that Newcastle would be a gamble because you've started really well, really good season. And I think Eddie Howe is doing it the right way. He's not throwing money around. He's not getting big names. He's buying people who fit the system, the way he wants to play, and he'll find people who fit it. So it's not just about, you know, marquee signings for the sake of it. So I think from Maddison's point of view, I think it would be a gamble because he wants to go to the next level. And unless Newcastle are doing that for 2-3 seasons, and I'm not sure he would be confident enough that they would be that. So I would take all of this with a pinch of salt.
And I agree. No, the actual moving away, if he goes, he goes. You know, we know Newcastle financially have got the clout a lot more than we have, and good luck to them, like I say. It's the entitlement of some of the fans that are like,
But again,
we're Newcastle, you should want to come to us. Oh yeah, like Arsenal, like Vardy was going to come to you. Madison
and all
was
of those,
Arsenal,
and all of those, Chris, but all of those live in the same space. They live in the Twitter sphere, you know, and that's what you expect. You know, you go on Twitter and it doesn't take you very long to find someone that you want to punch in the face. you know.
Oh, I found a couple of them today.
Well, exactly. That's it. Yeah. So I don't take it so seriously. And, you know, yeah, you're right. All of these people, all they're doing, they're all individual clickbaiters who want people to pile on or whatever. So I wouldn't waste any more breath on it, Chris, to be honest.
Well, a little bit of breath maybe. Tony, you mentioned there that time when you threw 12 points away. Now, as I remember, you were top of the league. Now, you know this better than I do because obviously, it's your club. But I seem to remember that you were doing really, really well, and then you brought in a certain player, Asprilla, who was a great signing. But from that point on, he kind of, as Craig said there, upset the apple cart a little bit. You know, you had a great team that was going forward, and you brought him in as a good a player as he was, but he did kind of, and so has Craig got a point with that? Do you need any players at this point in the window?
Well, I mean, yeah, that was sort of back in then. I mean, it could be down to the fact of that, but then there could have been other factors came into maybe pressure as well, because we weren't used to being that far ahead. And when we were 12 point, it was when Man United come to St James's that night and won 1-0. Cantona scored, and Peter Schmeichel had the game of his life that night. Everything Shearer and Ferdinand threw at him, he saved everything. We just couldn't get nothing past Schmeichel that night. He was unbeatable. Casper's dad, by the way. But I mean, that was a brilliant display of goalkeeping, and obviously Cantona got the goal, and after that we just seemed to lose it a bit, and then I think we were more looking behind. Where
was that this night by any chance?
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
No. I think that was when we played Forest, if I remember, or Leeds, one of the two. I think it may have been Leeds. That's right, it was Leeds, because we were playing Forest on the Thursday.
Man U had to play Leeds, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And had to go to Middlesbrough as well.
Well, like Craig said, it's I can say for me, I like Newcastle United. I said on last night's show, Newcastle show, go and smash the top six, split that up, get fresh faces in there, and it's great. I mean, you've got to be happy with your season so far. Third, lost one all season. Anything, the World Cup came at the wrong time for you.
I think it did, but then we had Botman limped off against Chelsea, so we're not sure what injury he had. But the only game we lost was that one against Liverpool, and that was a very contentious night of football. Andre Mariner basically may as well held the scoreboard up saying the final whistle go when Liverpool scored, because that night he was atrocious. I mean, the VAR over the second goal for Isak. Now, the reason that was cancelled, and this is what VAR said, because him and Gomez, I think he was just behind Gomez, so he wasn't offside as such. But according to VAR, the shadows on the pitch, they couldn't determine whose shadow was who on the pitch. So they had to give the goal offside. So because Isak was behind him, but even if his shadow was slightly ahead of Gomez's shadow, that's what they went off, and they couldn't tell whose shadow was who. So they had to give it offside.
Did you expect to be doing this well this season?
Well, I didn't, Chris, actually, because I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I said before the start of the season was when I was on with John Sinclair, and he asked for me predictions, and I turned around and I said, right, I'll tell you what. This is what we'll do this season. This is my prediction. I says, we'll win the Carabao Cup. We'll finish 7th. So we'll finish in Europa Conference League. I says, we'll get the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And I says, that would be a massively progress season if that happens. And we're at the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. we're sitting third. I didn't think, if somebody had said to me we would be third at the World Cup break, I would have laughed at them and said, I'll have a bucket of whatever you're on, because you must be on some decent sauce. I mean, if we had been, say, sitting 7th or 8th, then I would have thought that's still progress considering where we were last season.
Yeah.
We hadn't won for 14 games, so it took until December the 4th to beat Burnley to get our first win on the board.
Now,
So yeah, it kind of is. It's a massive progress where we are now, but it's the football we're playing. Eddie Howe again, because that guy, when he left Bournemouth, he went to go and see Sarri. He sat on the touchline with Sarri at the training ground in Juventus, see what he does. Then he went to Atletico Madrid, done the same with Simeone, stood on the training ground, took it all in from him. And then he went and saw Klopp at Liverpool as well and done exactly the same, because he wanted to know how he could make himself a better manager.
Yeah.
And these pundits out there, like Sky, BBC, whoever, they all said Eddie Howe cannot defend. He's not a defensive coach.
We'll come on to Eddie Howe in a minute. I want to try and get Craig in while he's still here. Craig, I mean, I know unfortunately I've got to mention this. As good as Newcastle have had a great season, and they have, and they are doing. We've not really, have we? But again, for us, I think the break maybe came at the wrong time.
Definitely, I think you're right. We had a shocking start, to be honest, and well, you know what it was like. There was a huge chunk of the fan base, particularly on Twitter, who wanted Rodgers out. If it was down to them, he'd be gone already, and we'd have some new manager. Yeah, I didn't want to mention you, Chris, but. The thing is, he stuck to his guns. As I said to you, I go back to that Tottenham game where we got hammered 6-2. I was at the game, and the one thing I remember coming back and talking to you about was the fact that it looked like the players were still playing for him. And I think that was the one little bit that you could cling to. And, a couple of things went our way. We had some decent results. Players missed chances and we scored. But we're looking better. But you're right. It came at the wrong time. We had some good momentum going. And we would have liked to have kicked on from there. But I think going back to Newcastle, you've got to say that you look at that goals against figure, 11, I think, so far. And he's managed to get that back line working, but also getting your wing backs forward and offering a forward threat as well.
That's where we've struggled really. If you look at ours,
exactly.
Yes, we scored 25, which is only 4 less than Newcastle, but we've conceded 25.
Exactly. I mean, that goals against is a fantastic figure at this stage of the season by Newcastle, and for a team that did leak goals. So, he's done a great job there. He's bought, again, a lot of people were saying, you bought Botman and then you bought Dan Burn. A lot of people were like, okay, is he just a big guy? But he's slotted in. He's versatile enough to give you some cover as well. And I think then you've got workers in front of them. And that's what I mean about, anybody you bring in now may upset that apple cart a little bit. But we've got some good momentum. I went to the game against MK Dons the other night. So it was good for us to get, some yards back in the legs. A couple of players did look a little bit rusty, so I'm a little bit worried for 1 or 2 players. But I think it's going to be a really tight game, to be honest. And I wouldn't be putting anybody's mortgage on it. Well, I wouldn't be putting mine on it. I might put yours or Tony's on it, but I won't be putting mine
on. I haven't got one. But Tony, I mean, talking about there, and I think it's quite good. We've both had that game, to ease us back in. You put a very strong team out against Bournemouth. We put a very strong team out, and we didn't have a Premier League team. We had a bottom 4 third tier team, but potential banana skin. But it was good to get that one game under the belt, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the team that started on Tuesday will probably be the team that starts on Monday, if I'm honest. It was a strong lineup. we went out there, and I knew Bournemouth would be tough, and I did say to John as well. I said Bournemouth will be tough, and he sort of looked at me, and I said, "Well, no, John, I've said 2-0, but against Bournemouth, but they can be a very tough side to break down. Yes, we had chances. We did score one, which possibly should have been allowed. I don't know why the referee gave goal, and then the linesman then put his flag up. I mean, really late flag, to be fair. But overall, that's the sort of thing you want before the Premier League starts again, is having a competitive game, because we've had 2 friendlies. We had one in Saudi Arabia against a good side in Al Hilal, and I know we beat them 5-0, and they've got some decent players in our team, like Savingalo, but we beat them 5-0. Then we played Rayo Vallecano, who are a top 8 team in La Liga. We're sitting 8th at the moment. We beat them 2-1. Mind, they were woeful, because they could have had some goals against us, but they bottled it, basically, and it took a Matt Target own goal to give them a goal. But we beat them. But friendlies are all about fitness. That's a good thing about a friendly, fitness. But it's nice to have a competitive match before the Premier League restarts, like yourselves did. The likes of Spurs and that, they couldn't have one because they're not in the cup, are they? But they've still got friendlies.
Oh, I love the fact that you not only come on, but you get a dig in for Spurs as well.
Yeah,
John
absolutely.
Come in, he's put some money in his electric meter, and he's got his electric back. John, hello, sir. How are you? Welcome along.
Big up, Chris. Big up, Tony. Big up. I can't remember.
Craig.
Craig and
we call him anything, to be honest with you.
I know.
I was just talking about the other night, and I was listening to a couple of channels and things that are being said, and Man City are winning 3-2 now. Bloody hell. Were you disappointed with that? I mean, it took you quite a while to break Bournemouth down, didn't it?
Well, I was at the game on Tuesday night, and we had a strong team as well, and look, we got the win, but it was frustrating for part of it, because we had a chance to get some more goals. But the thing is, as well, I mean, Bournemouth played like a low block game. They come out and play good football as well when they come out and do play, but at times they play a low block, and it's so frustrating, you know what I mean? But the chances they did have, we should have put them away, and we didn't. But we got the win, but they made it hard for us as well. They really did at times. But then again, I mean, I don't like to say that kind of football, but there's a bit of a change. We used to be a low block team under Steve Bruce, and they're an attacking team, and they make it harder for us nowadays. But I'm glad we got the win, and also Bournemouth played wasted a bit of time as well, so it didn't quite work for them. So yeah.
We also played obviously the night, and you went, as you just said, Craig. Did you see the Troyes friendly? I mean, I didn't even watch it because I thought, well, half the team's not going to be there anyway. I mean, it was behind closed doors, but I'm presuming it was on lcfc.com.
Yeah. No, I didn't see. I've not seen any of the friendlies. I thought we would play a strong team, to be honest, the same as Newcastle did, because otherwise you're bringing players straight back into a tough Premier League game without any competitive football. So I think you're right. It was useful that we had that game. It was a pretty strong team, and like you said, Tony, I don't think our team will be that far away from the team that starts on Boxing Day. I think Newcastle-bound Madders might be back in, but apart from that, I don't think there'll be much difference. So it was good, as I say. Fass looked a little bit shaky at a couple of moments. But there were some good performances. Iosi Perez played well. I'm sure if he gets a start or comes on, he'll be looking to put one over his old team again.
Can I just say that I did say last night that if you are going to come in for Maddison, part of the deal is that you do have to take Perez back. Let me just make that very clear. Was it Craig, or was it the fact that we were playing, no disrespect to them, a third-tier team and they're in the bottom four?
Yeah, I mean, they had a few little bits and pieces where we put some good blocks in, so we were still prepared to put our body in the line when we needed to. But I think it's safe to say that we didn't really need to get out of second gear. it's an interesting club, MK Dons. Fantastic stadium. I don't know if either of you guys have been there. Great stadium. The stadium's built for something much bigger than they've got at the minute. And a friend of mine was saying that they're averaging 4,000 in there. It's it's not in a good place. So the standard was pretty poor from them, to be honest. I was surprised that they'd got that win away at Portsmouth. The other week, which was a great win. But no, it was a competitive friendly, I would say, for us in terms of the run out and the challenge that was offered.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, obviously, if we get Newcastle in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup tonight.
Well, if Man City are in it, we'll probably get them.
Yeah. Well, I did actually laugh earlier because I was surfing the web, as it's called, and I went onto the Manchester Evening News because it came up as they'd already done like a false draw. And we are away to Man City or Liverpool, according to their draw. I mean, and the other thing, of course, if Maddison does come in on Boxing Day, which set of fans are going to give him the biggest cheer, of course? That is the question. But, Tony, you tell me one player that we've got to really be worried about, and then, John, I'll let you tell me another one that we should also be worried about.
Well, as I said to you, I think the side that started on Tuesday will be the side that will start on Monday. I'm 100% certain that will happen, unless somebody picks up a knock between now and then, which I can't see. So that's why I think he put that side out, because that's going to be the starting 11 on Monday. So he wants to get them fit and get some minutes in their legs. Even though Kieran Trippier's had some minutes in his legs, so has Callum Wilson. One player you should be wary of. Well, I could name a few, but like you see, one player. I'm going to say Bruno, because Bruno can not only be a central defensive midfielder, he's dangerous going forward. Because when he was at Lyon, he didn't really score many goals. He wasn't a goal scorer. But since he's come to Newcastle, Eddie Howe's played him much further forward. And now he's scoring more goals than he did when he was at Lyon. I think he only scored like 3 goals last season for Lyon. Or even 1 maybe, I think. But he hasn't scored many for them. But with Bruno, it's not only the fact that he can get forward and score, because he can pop the ball in from anywhere. We saw it against Brentford. He got the ball on the touchline, ran through and hit it from about 30 yards into the back of the net, past David Raya. So he's got that in his locker. Plus, as Leicester fans may have seen last season, I was at the game at St James's Park on Easter Sunday when Bruno got the first goal. Then he got the second goal when he ran about 70 yards into the box and headed it into the back of the net in the last minute from Joe Willock. So Bruno's got all that in his locker, but it's his passing, his dynamic passing range he's got as well, which is absolutely tremendous. And you've got to keep him quiet. If you don't keep him quiet, he'll dictate the flow of that game. And he can pick a pass anywhere, as we've seen this season. Look at the assist he's done for Miggy Almiron against Fulham for that goal, which is probably got to be goal, if I'm honest with you. I mean, yeah, but Bruno's probably the one to watch, if I'm honest.
And yourself, John?
I'm going to echo what Tony's been saying as well. I mean, Bruno, he's had that standing season for us. And, like he said, Tony said, so he can pick a pass as well. He cannot allow him to dictate the game. If you do allow him to dictate the game, then actually Leicester's going to be in trouble and he can cause havoc for the Leicester defence as well. Also, I like to see Joe Willock as well. I mean, I think he's coming on leaps and bounds this season. He scored a couple of goals and he's back to his best as well. He did have a good game on Tuesday, by the way. I thought it was poor. Our back line as well, back four looks great. Botman, who's first this season, been absolutely outstanding this season. Tony Eccles, laxiness. Big up this guy up there in the game. This guy is brilliant. I mean, from the back, he can pass the ball, he can tackle, he can read a game. And let's be real about it. And up front, because the ASM, if he gets a game on this day, he could be a world beater. At times, he's an egg beater. So, look, if he's on this game, he can cause riots on the day. But it's up front that was a little bit Chris Wood. It looks like if Callum Wilson starts and he's on this game, he'll get a goal or 2. But for me, Bruno is the one it's going to be the one to watch for us, because you need to keep him quiet. Because if you don't keep him quiet and you let him allow to take the game, he could hurt Leicester.
Yeah,
Chris, I think you should have asked the question: which player should we not look out for? Because I think you named the whole team.
Just covering all his bases. Then he can't say that he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, all right then. First of all, is there anybody you're worried about from Newcastle, Craig? And then who should Newcastle be worried about from Leicester?
Well, you know, I'm
Ward and go through the back four, then the midfield.
Well, I mean, I hope he has a terrible game on Boxing Day, but I am really pleased to see Almiron doing so well, because I thought the last couple of seasons there's definitely a player in there. You know, it just wasn't happening for him. You know, but I do like players who give it everything, and every time he went out on the pitch, Almiron, over the past couple of seasons, whether he had a good game or a bad game, you could never say that he didn't put the effort in. So he always looked from a distance. I always liked Almiron, and he's going through a purple patch at the minute. Guimaraes is good, but I think that back line of yours is the one that we're going to struggle to sort of break down. You know, it's going to be interesting who has the most of the ball in this game, because I think we've both got players who like to dominate possession, you know. So I think it could be, it's either going to be a crazy end to end, or it's going to be a real cagey one, and it's going to be decided by a goal or somebody's mistake or whatever. But I think from our point of view, again, ours is all about speed of transition. If we're slow, then we're not particularly good, to be honest. If we can get the ball to our dangerous players, if we can get the ball to Harvey Barnes quickly and he gets faced up against Trippier or whoever, then, you know, he can be a threat. I'm thinking that Maddison's gonna start, and he's clearly got something to prove from the fact that he's all he's done was warm that bench, which was an absolute, you know, joke by Southgate again. But I think they're the two, you know, the ones who are on form. Maddison and Barnes are the ones that could cause you some trouble. And it'd be interesting to see whether he goes with Vardy or Daka. I'm not sure.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, Vardy played, was it 70 minutes till he came off or something like that? But we've obviously got a few days off now, but it's still obviously coming around quite quickly. I have a feeling it might be Daka up front. It would be nice to see Daka in an Acho as a two up front.
Well, it would be. I think, you know, as much as I love Jamie, I think the Newcastle backline would love it if it was Jamie, to be honest, because he's just not as mobile as he used to be. He conserves his energy, which means he tends to stay central and wait for something to happen rather than causing something to happen. So I think your backline will be much more comfortable. It may sound weird, but I think they'll be much more comfortable with Vardy playing than Daka, who is a little bit unpredictable, shall we say.
Yes, yeah. Does this 2 games define our season, Craig? I mean, it's been very up and down. Like I said, I'll hold my hands up, and I wrote the piece that said Rodgers get out of our club after about 4 or 5 games. But then we didn't know what had gone on during the summer, and that was, for me, was the big. Had we known that before, I think we'd have been a little bit more understanding with him. Now we do know what happened during the summer, and then obviously it was all mixed up with the way Fofana left, etc. And we're on a good run. We've come back and we've got 2 very, very. I mean, you know, Newcastle. This is not the Newcastle from last season or the season before. Or this is a new Newcastle that sat 3rd in the table, quite deservedly so. And then we've got Liverpool, and we know sort of Liverpool this season. It's whichever Liverpool turn up. If we lose both these games, are we back in? Well, we're back in the mire. But is that again pressure on Brendan, or should we not just say, well, these, you know, is Newcastle and Liverpool?
Not for me, to be honest. I think it'll be more about the manner of the performance, because you know that on their day, if Newcastle play as well as they can, if Liverpool play as well as they can, if Leicester play as well as they can, anyone could win either of those games, to be honest. So I think it'll be fine margins in both of the games. But I think there's going to be a little bit of adjustment to being back into the season. It's like your first couple of games of the season again. So I don't think you can really judge people on what is essentially the first couple of games of a season, particularly when you've got such strong opposition.
Yes. Tony, I mean, I know probably half the country isn't pleased that Southgate's staying until 2024, but and there's one just below me. I am happy, to be honest with you, but that's another argument for another day. I'll ask you both this, but I'll have to come to you first, Tony. Does that kind of give you a couple of years sort of not to worry? Because, I mean, I can't see past Eddie Howe for the job if Southgate goes, because to me it's got to be an English manager, and there isn't anybody half as good as him at the moment. So are you sort of quite relieved that Southgate's staying?
I'm not relieved. I'll tell you why I'm not relieved, because I've said this. Even if Southgate decided to walk out at midnight tonight and say, I'm not going to be England manager, I would not be worried at all, because Eddie Howe does not want the England job. And he stated that in September in his press conference. He said, 1, Gareth's still in a job. He says, and 2, I enjoy turning up every day to do training. He says, I do not want a job where you're sitting around waiting 6 months before you have another game. He says, I like the day-to-day running of a club. And he says, I'm not saying I don't want the England job, but he says, I don't want it at this time. It is not for me at the moment. He says, maybe in about 10 years' time, but at the minute, no. He says, I enjoy the day-to-day side of the club. And I mean, John, when a lot of our fans were getting a bit edgy, like, oh, Southgate going, and I'm like, don't panic, because I'm 100% certain that he will stay at the club. He's going nowhere. He signed a long-term deal before the season was started, before the Forest game. So the day before we played Forest, he signed that deal. We don't know how long the deal's for, but also it helps the players out knowing that the manager there is there for the longer term as well, because he was only on a short contract for 2.5 years. So to get an extended contract gives them players belief, well, hang on, we've got the manager here. I mean, Bruno probably didn't even know who Eddie Howe was when he first came to the club, but he absolutely loves Eddie Howe. Yeah. Thinks he's a great manager. Same with Sven Botman, you know. They absolutely think he's brilliant.
But the only thing, just a quick one. The only thing I would say to that is, I think you're right. I think Eddie Howe enjoys club management. I think that's where he wants to be. What I would say is, if the FA came and asked him, Gareth walked away and they came and asked him, do you want the England job? It would be very difficult. If he wants it at some point, it would be very difficult for him to say no, because we all know how the FA operate. And it's like, you turned us down once, you won't get asked again.
Let's put that one to let's put that one to John, and we can bring John in then, because bless him, he sat there.
To Eddie Howe, let's put it this way. I don't think he wants for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's got a project in Newcastle he wants to see out, which I truly believe he wants to see it out and he wants to stay. And I'm so happy that you're staying. And secondly, England will not be able to afford him. It's as simple as that. For me personally, if they want to price Eddie out of Newcastle, then for me personally, they're going to have to pay. For my opinion, it's got to be the biggest compensation in English football history, in my opinion. It'll be a hell of a lot of money to price away. But for me, I'll go with what Tony said. He enjoys the day-to-day run of the football club. He's happy at Newcastle. He loves the project. And I can't see any reason why that he wants to take the England job. But
because it's the England job. Because it's the England job. Why do people want to become Man United manager? Why do people want to become Liverpool manager? Yes, money is a big deciding factor. But as you said, Craig, if he turns it down now, that could be his last chance. They might not come back to him, because we do know.
And I only say that because we know how the FA operate.
No, you're quite right. You're quite right.
They're shysters.
But is it a case of Ed, he's not exactly going to be a poor man now. If he's at Newcastle for another couple of years, he's going to be quite a few million in his back pocket. He need never work again. And we know with managers when they're sacked as well, and he hasn't been sacked, but when they have been sacked, they walk off with probably more money than if they'd stayed. So he won't need the money, but it is the fact that it's the England job. Now, if we're going to go for an English manager, there's him or basically Potter, and that's kind of it, really. And Potter's kind of the magic's gone off him a little bit, to put it. So in 2 years' time, guys, at Newcastle, you may be in a position where you want somebody a bigger name than Eddie Howe because of the way that you've grown.
I mean, Eddie Howe said also on that England job at that press conference as well back in September, he did say, I want to win stuff here as well. He said, I want to win trophies here. Yeah. He says, this club's been starved too long. And he says, I want to see it through that I can win some trophies here. I mean, he's not saying he'll totally rule it out, but it's not at the minute for him. He wants, if, say, the FA come knocking on his door in, say, 5 or 6 years' time, and say he's won a couple of FA Cups for us and a League Cup, and maybe we've had to go to the title or whatever, he then may say, okay, I'll go on and go to the England job. But at the moment, he's happy, he's settled, he's moved his family to the northeast as well. I mean, a lot of pundits were saying before the season started.
Madison's got his family in Leicester. He's got a new baby, but that hasn't stopped Newcastle fans saying that he's going to move up to Newcastle. And these things that they say at press conferences, let's be honest, he's just signed. He wants to get the Newcastle fans on his side. He's not going to say, well, actually, this was the only offer I've had. So I thought, well, it's Newcastle, but I'll come. He's giving me a big. He's not going to say that. We know that. And if he is going to go, it will be 2 years. But John, do you not think that there'll be a time when you are too big, or he's not big enough for Newcastle?
Look, I mean, a lot of people, Newcastle fan base, are saying that they want to see Eddie Howe on next Alex Ferguson. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be successful, Alex Ferguson, but at the end of the day, excuse me, as I would agree with Mima. Right, that he's going to be manager of the season the way it's going on in a minute. But
quite rightly, yeah.
But the thing is, right, I mean, look, at the end of the day, no England job's the pinnacle of any manager. I mean, any England manager, any Englishman likes to take the England manager's job, yeah? But it's just off for Eddie Howe, in my opinion. Okay, if Eddie Howe does leave, right, eventually we have to get someone better than Eddie Howe. And I mean, go out to the continent, right? There's some crack managers out there. You know what I mean? Like, my personal choice, if Eddie does score, and I know you'll talk about it, and Tony back us up on this one, right? I'd bring Diego Simeone in all day long. The guy's the winner. Yeah, he doesn't play exciting football, but he's a winning manager. He wins titles. He's won 2 La Liga titles, right? And he's won 3 Europa League titles, right? Also, he won the King's Cup, right? And he's done it. He beat Barca Real Madrid at their stadium, right? He's not be exciting to watch. He is a champion manager, yeah? But if Eddie Howe decides to go, that'd be my first choice. But at the end of the day, right, he's still as our manager. We love him, Tony. Tony, we love Eddie Howe 110%. But at the end of the day, he's playing football the right way, and he is bringing great football back to St. James's Park. And that's why we love him.
Yeah, and like I say, and I'll just slowly bring it to an end now, but I love Newcastle. I want them to, I've said it so many times on your show, I want them to go and smash that glass ceiling of the Big Six and what have you. Just please do not become Man United Man United fans Mark II and think that you're entitled to everything, because
and also,
you'll go shit up after a time.
Please bring the away fans back down out the gods.
Indeed.
I've been there
Wow.
2 or 3 times. It's the worst place to watch football. It's absolutely shocking.
Right. We are into virtually the last minute. It looks like Man City are going to be the ones in the hat for the next round. And I'm going to be doing a live draw show after this. But these are the predictions. Now, obviously, everybody on here has gone for a Leicester win, except Jerry Taggart, who's gone for the draw. So Brad's gone 3-0. I've gone 2-1. It is all over. Man City have won. Craig has gone 2-1 as well. Jerry's Taggart's gone, these are ex-players now, 2-2. Marsh has gone 2-1. Ian Wilson has gone 2-1. Steve Lynix 2-0 and Steve Walsh 2-1. Let's hope everybody is right. But Tony, you first of all, obviously you're going to go for a Newcastle win.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can win this game. I did see what a Leicester fan put on yesterday, and I couldn't believe his comment. And I thought, obviously, you've not been watching our football much this season, but he obviously said Leicester will beat Newcastle 4-0 like we did last season. I thought, well, hang on a minute, we're not that 3 or 4-0 team now that you can just easily roll over.
Yeah.
We used to be the easy target of 4 and 5s, but we're not no more. Even Pep Guardiola said that when we drew 3-3, he turned around and he said, look, last season we rolled these over 4-0. But this season,
I really am going to have to cut this answer short. I just do need, please, your score prediction. I'm 2 minutes off doing my next show.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle. And also, just give a shout out to where everybody can find you again, mate.
Yeah, so you can find me on my channel, which is It's All Black and White TV, which is on behind you on YouTube, and also I'm on Twitter, TonyTooney31. Follow me there, and I'll follow you back.
Tony Tooney. Now there's a good handle. Tony, I'd wish you all the best. Obviously, Boxing Day, I won't mean it, but good luck for the rest of the season and get into the Champions League, mate.
You too, mate. Tony. And you, Craig, as well. Cheers, and see you later, John.
Cheers, lads. See you tomorrow.
John, your score prediction and where then people can find you.
Okay, I'm going to cut this down short because I know you've got to go. I'm going to say, I think Leicester will score. I think we'll win by 2-1 because we're on fire in a minute. And goals going to come from Miggy, and I'll go with Bruno. And where you can find us on is John Sinclair TV. You can find us on Twitch, Facebook. You can find us also on YouTube as well. Also, you can find us on Insta, John Sinclair 50. And we just do all the shows.
Brilliant. It's a great channel, and it is, and you have great guests on. And I do believe you've got an absolute amazing guest on tomorrow night at 6:45.
Yes. You, of course. You and Tony as well. Get him on as well. Love it.
Take care, mate.
You too. See you tomorrow.
I'm glad you got your electricity sorted. And
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Care. Good luck for the rest of the season. See you tomorrow.
You too. Cheers, guys. See you later.
Cheers later. And Craig, there was 2. I thought I'd be here till about 11 o'clock at night. There's never a short answer. I'm probably going to, like I say, lose loads of Newcastle fans with what I've said, but there we go. I really do like the club, and I like the majority of the fans, and I suppose like every team. Every team's got a few nuts, haven't they? You know, but
they've got them, we've got them, everyone's got them.
Exactly. Like our souls, we've all got one. So I'm going to have to rush off now. So the draw is coming up. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Welcome.
It's been a while.
Good to be back.
Are you there Boxing Day?
I'll be there indeed. Yeah, hopefully for a good game and a squeaky win.
I'll take any sort of a win. Actually, it's just coming up. It's 10:30 the draw now.
All right.
I knew they were going to put it back. Let me ask, because if you're all right for a minute now, because I've obviously got a minute.
Couple of minutes, I'm okay.
Yeah. Just very quickly, Carabao Cup. Should it be dumped for Premier League clubs? It's Sky's the official partner, and yet on a night when there's 4 Carabao Cup ties, they show within England Aberdeen versus Rangers. I mean, I don't know who down here would want to watch pub football, but there we go. If they can't get behind it, and everything's so, I mean, I think the last draw was just on Twitter and it was about 45 minutes late. It's a joke cup, isn't it? I know we've got a history.
No, because I don't want to become one of those people now who says, we're too good for the cup competitions. there's 2 cup competitions, and you've got to look beyond the big teams. You know, it's a bigger thing. We talk about, you know, helping out poorer clubs. This is their chance. They've got 2 chances of drawing a decent team and not only getting some money into the club, but giving their fans an opportunity to see bigger clubs. This is one of them. FA Cup is the other one. I don't want to take it away. It's a cup competition. Go out, put a decent team out, and try and win it. Give your fans a day out at Wembley. Otherwise, the majority of football, even Premier League fans, they're not going to win the league. They've got 2 chances of glory: FA Cup, you know, and League Cup, and a day out at Wembley. You know what we're saying? We just take one of those away straight away. No, not for me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If we're in it, I want to win it because it's a competition we're in. But surely we should, you know, the fans should be treated better. You know, no wonder.
I don't understand. You know, for me, I don't care who shows it on TV. To be honest, we lived for years without it being on TV. You know, there's a highlight show on ITV, I think, who show it. To be honest, as I say, for at least half of the clubs in the Premier League, we have 2 things to play for. I'm not happy that we say we'll ditch one of them.
And that's fine, sir. That is your opinion. You're wrong.
Well, if you go out, of
I'm joking.
Yeah, you get rid of this cup. You go out of the FA Cup in the 3rd round in January. Your season is pretty much over, apart from fighting relegation. So,
no, it's a very good point. And like I say, it was just one that I wanted to run past you because I just think that, you know, it changes sponsors every couple of years as nobody seems to stick with it. Like I say, nobody on, you know, why hasn't somebody like a Channel 4 or a 5 maybe come in and say, we want football, we'll do that, and cover Amazon showing every single game over Boxing Day. There's something like 7 games on Boxing Day, and every single one's on. So it can be done. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, if Leicester hadn't been on, because I was able to watch it via a different way, let's just put it that way. And I didn't mind if it wasn't sort of the Leicester game that was live, but we always knew Man City versus Liverpool's going to be on. Wow, great, fantastic. All right, it was a good game, 3-2. But surely Milton Keynes Dons or Charlton Athletic deserve that TV money more than Manchester City and Liverpool.
True, and I think what they should do, the way of doing it, is making it available to everybody, as you say, even if it's pay a £5 and you can watch it live. You know, that's the route that they should go down, so you can see it. To be honest, I'm not sure I would have paid £1.50 after the event of what I saw against MK Dons, but that's the way to do it. You know, they talk about they talk about the trial of making every game available. The Carabao Cup is probably a perfect opportunity to test that, make all the games available for a small fee, see how many people are actually prepared to pay and watch it.
Yeah, no, I mean they did it during COVID, didn't they? But I just like I say, I just think sometimes, and I still don't think of Leicester as a big club. I just think it would be nice for, say, like the Charltons or the MK Dons to have their moment, because we are in a, well, let's not go down the cost of living crisis. We're going to get political there, if you like. But not everybody can travel. You know, I mean, you were lucky you went to see it, you know, and it was a lot of empty seats, as you said there, you know.
Oh, it was terrible. From there, I don't believe the crowd, to be honest. There was 6,500 Leicester. I can't believe that there was more than that of MK Dons fans, to be honest.
There's a big corner that was available that they could have sold to us. I saw somebody on Twitter.
Oh, there was another corner that they could have gone round for Leicester fans, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant, mate. Look, I'll let you go. Have a fantastic Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, mate.
To Scott and your daughter and your wife. And I apologise, I don't know their names.
No, don't worry. I'll forget them as well.
Well, they're obviously kicking you out on Boxing Day. She's had enough of you after one day, the missus. Hey, no, have a good Christmas. Hope
you too, mate.
Hope Santa brings what you want, and I will see you in the new year now, probably.
Yeah, brilliant. So, all right, cheers, Chris. You take care and have a great Christmas, mate.
And
bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there we go. Like I say, Newcastle, I'm worried. I'm not going to lie. I think they're a good team. They've got an excellent manager in Eddie Howe. He's going to do well. He's going to do well there. And you know what? The majority of fans I do really, really like. It's just they got me today with this sort of this entitlement that a player, see Drake, a player wants to leave just because it's Newcastle and we are Leicester. You know, somebody said he's likely to win more at Newcastle sooner. Yeah, he probably will, but just don't be so entitled, and that's what some of the Newcastle fans are becoming. I think money has changed some of them, not all of them. There's some really nice ones. We've had 2 nice ones in here. We've got Matty, who's in the chat. He's a good Newcastle fan. We've had Sefton Mag in as well. Thank you for coming in, Sefton. Hope you're well. Please give us a subscribe because we do a lot of non-Leicester stuff as well, quizzes and what have you. And yeah, we like Newcastle. We really do. It's just some of you fans, they just don't become Man United fans Mark II, please. Please. I wish you all the best for the season. I hope you're going to get in the I hope you're going to get into the Champions League. Love to see it. You deserve it. And all the best, Newcastle, but just not on Boxing Day. I'm going to PUFO now. I will see you in about 10 minutes on the second stream when we are going to be covering the draw for the quarterfinals of the Caribou Cup. Take care, guys. All the best now. See you later. Thanks for watching. And if I don't see you, have an absolutely super duper yabba dabba doo Christmas.
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Have you been naughty or nice?
How dare you break wind before me?
I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know it was your turn.
I'm loving it.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over,